Hi guys, back again in the quarantine kitchen at Elm Bungalow, the home of the quarantine kitchen. I'm Mark. I just wanted to do a video today because a friend of mine's asked me to make some fresh bread and some rolls for her elderly grandparents. So why not? I thought, we touched on rolls before. That was more of an introduction into it, just kind of threw it together to see how it's done. Today we're going to do a tin loaf and we're going to do some rolls. I want to dial it in a little bit today, just so we get a bit more of an understanding of what we're doing, okay? So, as you can see, I've got my bread dough here, all right? That's 500 grams of strong white flour, 20 grams of sugar, 20 grams of yeast, 10 grams of salt, olive oil, and about 200 to 300 grams mils of warm water. You put the yeast and the sugar in the water, you whisk it, you let it foam. Goes into there, the salt goes into there, put it in the machine, leave it to prove. That's where we are now. Also, in a little bit, we're going to be doing donuts. Okay, I've made the donut mix, we'll talk about that later. At the moment, so I've got my bread dough on the board. I don't want to add flour unless I have to. Olive oil. Okay, so I'm going to knock my bread back. See how that? We need to do that. Okay, that's important. So, bread's knocking back, and we're going to turn it out. Okay, as you can see, it's soft, it's pliable, it's really nice and easy. So I'm going to work this out. I'm going to break it into two. One's going to be the loaf, one's going to be the rolls, okay? Roughly in half. I mean, you could weigh this if you wanted. Alright, I'm not going to bother today. Straight down the centre. Take one lot, put it to one side. That's fine. Other lot. This is going to be the loaf, the tin loaf. Okay. By the way, my tin loaf is oiled and floured, and I've got oil, greaseproof paper, and flour on my tray for my rolls. We're going to do the tin loaf. So, why do I put olive oil on my board? Just like last time. Okay, if I add more flour, it affects the recipe, even a little bit. I mean, you could do a little bit, like a sprinkle here and there for your hands, but if you keep adding flour, it changes the recipe because you're adding more flour and working it in. We don't want to do that, which is why I use olive oil. It stops the bread sticking to the top, stops it sticking to my hands, and it's an added richening agent. It gives it extra lusciousness. Okay, so push your bread out, keep it moving. Alright, like so, kind of like in a rectangle, doesn't have to be perfect, alright. You take the back, okay, with your fingers, and you put it back on itself, you push forward, you create this seam here. That seam's really important, okay. That seam at the bottom, that needs to go underneath the bread, okay. If you don't, and it goes to the side, or this side, or it goes to the top, or it's on the side, your loaf, like I said before, will grow and it will rise and cook in strange shapes, and we don't want that, okay? Sorry guys, I got a wasp. Hold on. Sorry about that. Right. So, back to the bread. So, we push it back, okay? Now, this time, you take the bottom half and you fold it right over the bread, okay? That creates the seam we've been talking about, okay? So underneath, I'll show you, you have that line there, okay? That's really important, all right? This time, back on the board, like so, push it out again, and as you can see, it's got thinner but thicker, right? So that's because we created what's called a fold. We want to do that. That creates layers in the bread, structure. When it proves, when it rises, when it cooks, it'll have a nice shape to it. That's what we're looking for, okay? So again, fingers underneath at the back, bring it forward to the middle, okay? Push it away from you, push down. Fingers or knuckles or side of your hand. The important bit is that you go right in and you create that seam. That's the important bit. Now we're going to do another one over the top, just like before, okay? Turn it over, okay? Under, tuck that seam underneath. What you're looking for is something a little bit like that. And that's a beautiful gig, isn't it? How amazing does that look, okay? And I'm going to leave that there, I think. I think that's sufficient, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to brush it with milk, and then we're going to start proving it, and then we're going to get on with the rolls, okay? So, milk, just bog standard, milk from your fridge, okay? Give it a brush. Just a light brush for now, okay? Because I'm going to put it in the tray in a minute, and we'll carry on from there. Underneath. Place it gently into the loaf tin. Now, that doesn't look like very much, but when that proves, that will come up. If it's too big, it'll overproof and it'll spill everywhere, and again, it'll cook uneven. We don't want that. We want a nice finished product, okay? In there, so another milk. Okay? I could add flour, sesame seeds, poppy seeds. You can put egg on top of it, you can put olive oil on top of it, you can put butter on top of it, whatever you like. I like a milk finish because it gives a crust and a nice colour, but it isn't too crunchy. Alright? I like a chew on my bread. Alright? So what I am going to do is I'm just going to give it a couple of slashes, just for aesthetics really, just so it looks pretty when it comes out. I'm making this for someone as a gift. Okay? There's something for them in these hard times for everybody. So I want to make it look nice. Okay? So just 1, 2, 3 across the top. That's what you're looking at. Okay? Simple as that, guys. I'm going to put that on one side. Have a quick little tidy up. And then we're going to get on with the rolls. Now I said we wanted to dial it in this time, be a bit more precise about it. Last time we didn't weigh the bread, okay? But this time we're going to weigh them out. Massively important, okay? For first timers, it's important, okay? So, scales. I'm going to go, make them nice and big. So I'm going to go 120, something like that. Get the bread, cut it on scales, grams, okay, on, not big enough, add some more, and again, nearly there, 120, okay, down, next, 118, so close, 125, bit too much there, 123, 120, okay, and again, see how we go. I think that's a bit big, but we'll go, yeah, 120, so take some of that off, back on, 120, bang on, yes, okay, that's 4 rolls, take that off, okay, 140, too big, 130, 129, 103, 110, 113, 120. Okay, this little nugget here, I'm going to put that in anyway. Not anymore, I'm not. Right, so anyway, moving on. So, again, a little bit of olive oil. Okay, I always use olive oil, makes it rich, makes it lovely. You don't have to, you can use rapeseed oil, you can use veg oil. I strongly suggest you use olive oil, though, guys. It makes it so much nicer. So with the bread rolls, on the bench, flatten it out a little bit with the palm of your hand, just gently. Okay, you don't knock all the air out of it, and you fold it back. Okay, what you're doing is you're turning, just like when you're kneading bread, you're taking your fingers, you're bringing it back on itself, like so. Then you turn it, you do it again. You turn it, you do it again. Okay, you turn it, you do it again, all the way around. Okay, so you get to the point where you start again, you turn it over, like so. And what you're doing is you're using these 2 fingers to cup the bread, and then you're gonna cup it and put it back again. It's this motion. I won't say what I was taught when I learned how to do this. Not very YouTube friendly, but you get the idea, okay? And you work it and you cup it and cup it and cup it. The reason we use a clean or oiled surface is because we want it tight. If I put flour on there, it's going to make it slip. I don't want it to slip, I want it to stick so I can tighten all those gluten strands up. Give a nice rounded top, yeah? And what you end up with is that little puppy. Luscious, lovely, beautiful bread. Homemade. You can't beat it. In it goes. And again, behind, over, 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 back to the beginning, over, turn it upside down. Give it a good little shape up in your hands. You're using your hands like shovels here, just like this, okay? Cutting in and you're turning. You're cutting in with that hand, you're turning with that hand. Just to make the kind of rough ball shape. We go back. Okay, in with the fingers, pull it down with this finger, cup it with your thumb, push out again. In, down, round. In, down, round. In, down, round. In, down, round. Okay, that's it. And back round we are. Last one. One by one. Lovely. The idea here is to create tightness. So this action with the hand that pulls it, it spins it. So all the gluten and the flour strands, they twist and flatten at the bottom. So you get a really tight top. When that cooks, it will puff and it'll go lovely, okay? Oven's on, about 200, 190, 200 degrees. They're there. Beautiful little rolls. Again, we're going to milk wash them. I'm not going to slash these because I want them nice and round. Now, personally, when I cook bread, I like that tear that you get when you buy them from the bakery. Okay, I like that tear. I think that's really nice and cool. I'm not going to do that here, so keep them quite apart unless you want that tear, because they are going to prove again. I want them nice and individual, so I'll push them apart. Okay, they're going to go over here now, just to prove, for about half an hour. So while we let that happen, just for a minute, I'm going to tidy up down here. And I'm going to punch out some doughnuts. Because once the bread's proved, and I show you that, and then we cook it, we can cook doughnuts as well. So, this came out of the fridge about an hour ago. Now that's 250 grams of strong white flour. Now it can be made with plain flour. I like to use strong white flour because it's kind of like a guarantee. Okay, it's like a safety net. It's like having a top chef on your shoulder. Okay. Yeah, 250 grams of plain white flour, 75 grams of butter, 2 eggs, 50 grams of sugar, and 15 grams of yeast, and 4 grams of salt. Alright? You put it in the machine and you let it work. Okay, so what we're going to do, nice and pliable, I'm going to dust my board. Because it's a donut, I don't want it to stick, I want it to have a nice time, and I want it to be nice and fluffy. If I don't flour what I put it on, it will stick, because there's yeast and there's eggs and there's butter in there, so it will stick to the board, stop it proving, and then you won't get very good donuts. So, you're going to do a couple of types, move your dough around, get some airflow underneath it. Okay, that's important. I'm going to reuse this. There's no point doing a new one. Alright. We're going to do two types. We're going to do a ring donut, and we're going to do a round donut, a couple of round ones actually. Okay, so no, scratch that. We're just going to do normal donuts. Okay, so from here. Okay, take your donut. Now, sort of neaten off your dough, okay? Alright, square it off. I mean, you could use them for something, but they've been rolled and sorted out already, so I'm not going to bother. Okay, and what we're going to do is I'm going to cut it straight down the middle. I'm going to cut it into rectangles lengthways, so this way, okay, probably about 3. Okay. There we go. Don't worry too much if they're not all the same size. They're going to prove. We're going to cook them in the fryer, they're going to puff up. Okay, I'm happy with that. So, and there they go. This is what we're looking at. Not too thin. On there. A couple of little ones for the little one that lives here. Oh, also, while we're here, I just want to make a big shout out to my boy, Lucas Heyman, known as Young's Z on YouTube. I haven't seen him for nearly 3 months now, and I live in Chelmsford. He lives in Haverhill. Hello son, if you're watching, I love you mate. Always have, always will. Anyway, so they're there, ready to prove. Once the bread's proved and the donuts are proved, I'll be back for part 2 of Dough Masterclass. See you in a bit guys. Stay safe, stay home, stay frosty.